Yesterday, I told a story about how I lost admin access to my Facebook group with over 3,000 members. Today, I want to talk about the bigger lesson because the real issue isn't Facebook, it's digital ownership. So, I also asked the question, if every platform disappeared tomorrow, what would you still own? Number one, social media is borrowed land. If we did not learn anything from the first TikTok scare, we learn that people lose their followers like this that quickly, and many were unable to pivot when the first TikTok scare happened. TikTok was down all of about 12 hours, yet and still, many of the people who had a TikTok shop had no way to pivot. So that was our first telltale sign that you need a backup plan. Two, platforms change rules often. The biggest example is like Instagram. 1 minute they're pushing carousels, the next minute they're pushing stories. Sometimes they're pushing the reels or the broadcast feature on Instagram. You're constantly having to move with the algorithm. And sometimes, if it's you don't have the bandwidth to keep up with algorithms across platforms. Three, accounts get hacked. So I believe I was hacked, or it could have been as a result of something Facebook didn't agree with, the reason why I lost access to my group. But just know that cybersecurity is a huge issue. It doesn't matter if it's your banking institution or one of these social media platforms. Accounts are getting hacked even more now so than before because of AI and making it extremely easy to hack accounts. So, another reason why you need to be vigilant. And then communities disappear overnight. Sometimes you can get under people's skin. Sometimes people want to cancel you because of something you said. And so, for all of those reasons, you have to really be, number one, locked in. Two, you have to understand social media is borrowed land and these things are forever changing. So, what is your backup plan? If every platform disappeared tomorrow, what would you still own? All right, I want to talk to you now about the three types of platform risk. So, number one, platform risk. Understanding you don't own these platforms. So, you don't have any control over the policies. A lot of times, the platforms that we're using have policies that are in place because they respond only to their biggest stakeholders, which a lot of times are big corporations for advertising dollars. I remember I got in Facebook jail for saying my son has cooties. So that is one of the crazy policies. I know that there are so many other ways that people have lost their accounts. That is just something on a small scale. Two, moderation, talking about platform risk. So now places like Meta are controlling visibility by making sure the people who have the check are priority first. They get pushed out to the top of the algorithm, whether you're paying for that blue check mark, whether you are one of the top influencers on the platform. Those are the accounts that get visibility first. Just not so long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, YouTube was down for a lot of creators, including myself. So my co-host was trying to go live on YouTube, and because of the platform shutdown, he was not able to do what he needed to do, as well as many others. So for those reasons, you are at risk. That is considered platform risk, including policy, moderation, algorithm, and platform shutdowns. Two, security risk. Cybersecurity is always a huge issue. Or if you have someone now with AI impersonating you, you're at security risk. Or you risk being reported. So then someone who just doesn't care or jive with you can report you, and then you're at risk of your platform getting shut down. So those are potential security risks. The third one is attention risks, meaning even if nothing gets deleted, You still, again, have to go through algorithm changes. Your reach drops. I'm noticing some of my favorite followers, even though they have millions of followers, they have less than 10% of the people that are engaging with their content. So you hit those plateaus. You have less reach. You can go from 1,000 views to 50 overnight. If somebody doesn't like something that you said, they can put a campaign out to make people stop following you. So between security risks, platform risk, and attention risk, you are susceptible to losing everything when you are dependent on platforms. All right. Now let's move into the next point that I want to make. Let's talk about, what do creators get wrong? And let me know in the chat if you're catching the replay or if you are watching live. I also want to know in the chat, what platforms are you currently using for your business or to promote your product, brand, or services? What are creators getting wrong? Let me know if you have any guesses in the chat. We're talking about what losing my Facebook group taught me about digital ownership and platform risk. All right. And then I'm going to close this out with my framework that I think is extremely helpful in these situations. The first thing that people are getting wrong, or creators, building an audience but not owning the relationship. Subscribers and followers does not mean owned audience. So just because you have people who subscribe to you on YouTube, they don't always get the notifications. Just because you have people who are following you on Instagram, they're not always engaging with your content. So it's this assumption that just because I have 1 million followers, that I can convert 1 million people to do what I want them to do or what I ask, or I can convert them to join me in my community, or I can convert them to buy this product. That's not always the case. So platforms have the control over the connection that you have. Mistake number 2, not building off platform. So yes, you need to be building online, but it's also great to be building in person as well. And you're creating real relationship, real rapport. Can you create in-person events? What does that look like? Mistake number 3 is having only one platform strategy. Like relying solely on one platform, like when the TikTok ban happened, or Instagram creators only, who trust more in all of the beautiful aesthetics on Instagram and then are not able to convert into long form content. It doesn't add up. So then with all of this, what can we then do about it? I'm going to talk to you about my 7Ps framework. So my 7Ps framework is this. This is my original idea. This is my IP. These are my thoughts. And this is how I move and transition my listeners and my clients who I work with to help them grow in their podcasting journeys. Number 1, not having a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you need a long-term ecosystem, not just posting content, but posting with purpose, having a system, having times and days that you post, having something that helps you post across platforms simultaneously. And then when you hit those plateaus, because we know you will, having a system that tells you what to do next, having a plan or a backup plan in place. Like when I lost my group, having a backup group that I was able to usher my community to quickly. 2, production, meaning you create content that you can reuse everywhere. For example, one podcast episode can easily be repurposed into clips, a blog, an email blast, and a few shorts or reels. 3, platform. Use different platforms for different purposes. So you can use Facebook for the groups in creating specialty conversations or curated conversations. You can use Instagram for your reels and for your stories. Use YouTube for your long form content. Use Substack for writing and your podcasts. And then use LinkedIn for business connections. So this is intentional platform use. The 4th P in my framework, track everything. So it's not enough to have followers or subscribers. Now you need to have a purpose for how you leverage that data. Are you paying attention to your email open rate? You should be in the 50% to about 70 percentile with email open rate. That's on average. Are you tracking engagement? Are you taking away from what is actually getting the engagement, and are you trying to duplicate that to find your own niche, your own style of content? Conversions. How are you tracking your conversions? That could be whether you're using any one of the platforms. You should be factoring in the conversion rate to see how many people are converting from the content that you post. And then again, use that information to figure out what you do next. And it's not just enough to have a follower or someone subscribe to you. I know we like to boast and brag about those numbers, but those numbers at the end of the day are surface and very vain. And you should be tracking things that are deeper and more analytical, like the data about the email open rate, the conversions, and the engagement. All right, that was number 4. 5 is promotion. Your audience should know where to find you, and even better if they know where and when to find you. So if you have a consistent schedule that you upload your shorts or you record your podcast episode and the episode goes live, it's great when they can rely on your content schedule. 6, every content creator hits a plateau, whether that is slow growth, burnout, or algorithm drops. Expect it and plan for it. And then 7, pivot. Because we know the plateaus happen, how can you pivot? You should have a plan B and a plan C. In the event that the first plan doesn't go right, you should have something else that you can easily fall back on. The 5 things every creator should own. If you're new, we're talking about what losing my Facebook group taught me about digital ownership and platform risk. So yesterday, if you did not catch the live, I went live to talk about losing my group of 3,300 plus members. Today, we're talking about what it actually taught me and how you can take this information to better plan for yourself. So, number 1, the 5 things every creator should own. I'm going to put this on my whiteboard. And again, let me know what platforms you guys are using and if you are catching this replay or watching live. 5 things creators should own. What do you guys think the first thing is? Let me know. If you had to guess, based on what we've talked about, what do you think the number 1 thing is? Email list. If you answered email list, you are correct. Number 1 is an email list. You can move anywhere if you have an email list. So you can move to MailChimp, Beehive, Substack, ConvertKit. I've used at least 3 of the 4. I don't think I have a lot of experience with ConvertKit. 2, a website. I've used Weebly, I've used Wix. You should own a website. And now I'm using Lovable, and I get my domain from GoDaddy, which I highly recommend. All right. Your website is your home base. That's where you can have the pop-up for the email lists. That's where you can direct and convert people to buyers or to long-term listeners. So you need to have a home base. If you don't know, my home base is plantopodcast.com. I'll put that up for your reference. Go check us out. 3, a content library. You need a content library where all of your assets live. I use Google Drive for the most part. Of course, I have all of my cloud backup drives for using platforms like StreamYard or Zoom or Google. And then, of course, you need to have a hard drive or a thumb drive. With Facebook, all of my lives, they disappear now. Those are the new terms of Facebook. Your lives will be archived. So you should have a backup place for where you house your lives. Content library is number 3. All right. Number 4, your community. Of course, if you are a podcaster, Patreon is great for podcast communities. Payhip is another great place to store a lot of these things, but community included. Skool, spelled Skool, is another great place for building your community. This is where you have your live meetups. This is where you do your private events, your exclusive stuff. This is where you have memberships with the different tiers. Last one, a CRM. I use HoneyBook. You could use Google Spreadsheets or whatever helps you get the job done. But this helps you track your relationships. It helps you keep automations. So you're nurturing the people that are in your community. What I did immediately after I lost all of my members. So it took me a minute to make the announcement because I wanted to sniff out the bad seed. So if anyone kind of hacked me or anything, I try to keep it very low key so I could try to sniff that person out between all of my moderators, which I didn't want to think that they had the gust or gall to do anything like that. And I'm still not saying that any one of them have, but that was my first thing. I kept a low profile. I did my own due diligence and my own research when I lost my admin access. And so I spoke with only one of my admin and I told her what the situation was. And I told her how I needed her to take the next steps to help me. And then I told one other person, which kind of helped me not divulge too much information to one person at one time, just in case I was getting played. So keep a low profile. You don't immediately go into a major announcement with something like that right away. You need to figure it out first and get to the bottom of things. Now, the second thing that I did when I realized I can't get to the bottom of it and I'm going to lose access within 7 days is when I created a pop-up on my website letting people know of the situation, and I recorded a live, and I told them in the live what the next steps are. I told them to go to the website to see all of the important links and what the next course of action is. Then I used my email list to make a blast, especially for those people who I know would be deeply concerned. Make announcements on my podcast. I have not done that, but I will because I was also in a transition of my podcast. So make announcements on your podcast. And then if you're sharing across other platforms, letting them know by taking the clips from your podcast and creating shorts around the announcement and sharing that to other platforms. And then I've had my backup group for a while. So now I'm able to use my backup group just to resume conversations like normal. So the audience didn't disappear. I simply moved the conversation over. Now, here is my final message, bringing the conversation back to the big idea. Losing Facebook did not hurt my business because I never built my business just on Facebook. Facebook was just one doorway to a bigger ecosystem. If every platform disappeared tomorrow, what would you all still own? With that, if you guys have any questions or concerns, I would love to hear this in the chat. If you guys have experienced something similar, please share your stories. If you know someone else who has experienced the same thing, please pass this message along. And then tomorrow, I'm going to come back with more information. Remember, this is still a part of a 4-day series. And tomorrow's topic, why they must be platform agnostic and not build on borrowed land. So go back, watch yesterday's live, watch the beginning of this live, and then come back tomorrow. Make sure you're following me on YouTube. It is Danny Marie on YouTube. That's another thing. That's another bonus pro tip. It's easy for people to find you if you have the same profile across platforms. Some of you guys have 5 different names, and it's so confusing, but I'm not going to go there. We're going to wrap it. It is Danny Marie across all platforms, and you can Google me. All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe so you get the notifications the moment we're live. It's about 1:30 tomorrow. Peace.